sleeves and some gloves. Creamsicle orange. A fail. Hey guys, welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. We are getting very, very close to Christmas time around here, and I don't exactly have all of what I would like to give away put together. So what I need to add to my Christmas gift basket this year is a little bit of handmade soap. Earlier in the year, we harvested some lovely loofah from the garden, and I have that all cured and ready to kind of embed into the hot process soap today. Full disclaimer, I am relatively new to soaping. I have been making soap for a few years, but I really only make like a batch or two every single year, so I don't feel like I have a ton of experience, and I've always done a cold process soap. This will be my first time with hot process soap, so it's kind of like a learn alongside me instead of like a teaching video. I did use a soap calculator to try and figure out what is going to work best, because I want to use basically only things that I can produce here on my farm. So I'm gonna be making a 100% tallow soap as far as the oils go, and then I'm going to be putting skim goat's milk in place of water. I did go back and forth on whether or not it would be smart to do goat's milk in a hot process soap. I've seen people do it. Some people will add the milk at the end of the process. Some people add it at the beginning. From what I understand, we just risk a little bit of color difference going on, a little bit of a color change from the milk caramelizing if I add it at the beginning. I'm more comfortable adding it at the beginning rather than the end, just so I know that everything has saponified together and should last on the shelf a good long while. So I have 3 pounds of tallow that I have melted down, kind of using a double boiler method. So we have liquid tallow all in here. I need to take these out and dump the water so that I can use this crock pot to make the soap. Alright, it is lie time, so I'm putting on some long sleeves and some gloves. I have built-in eye protection. According to the recipe that I printed out, I'm going to need 177 grams of lye. So excuse the messy kitchen. In my mind, it was soap first, clean later, so I have not cleaned my kitchen at all. And normally you would want to mix your lye with your water or milk outside, because you're going to want a lot of ventilation. You don't want to breathe the fumes in. We are having 30 and 40 mile per hour wind gusts, so I don't really trust the wind outside right now as far as where those fumes are going to fly and if my container will tip over. So what I'm going to do is actually turn on the vent fan here for the oven hood and just kind of stand back. You always want to add your lye to your liquids, not your liquids to your lye, lest you get a lye volcano. I pre-portioned out the last time that I made butter some skim milk to throw into soap, so that's what this is. It would have probably been better to put it in like an ice cube tray so that it had a little bit more surface area to contact the lye, but it will melt. This is 18 1/4 ounces of skim milk. Got my lye here, got my vent. So the milk and lye is all dissolved. This is actually not hot at all. From what I have been told, it doesn't actually matter if your oils and lye water mixture are the same temperature for a hot process soap. Don't quote me, but we're gonna roll with it. Being very careful, I don't want to splash. Now I'm going to use my stick blender to blend everything together, and this is gonna thicken up to like kind of a almost pudding consistency that is called trace. This is the point where if I were making a cold process soap, I would move this over into the mold and let it cure. With cold process soaps, that curing time allows for the lye to turn the oils into soap. And after that curing time, the lye is no longer active and you're not going to risk burning yourself. With the hot process, we kind of speed that up. The heat forces that saponification, so we get soap a lot faster. So I am going to put the lid on this. You can probably tell that we've turned a little bit of a creamsicle orange, probably from the milk. That does not make me mad. It is at this point where a lot of soap recipes that I've seen differ. So some people will just kind of let this sit. I have this on high. They'll let it sit and go through a few different phases until it reaches what I have heard called the Vaseline phase, where the soap kind of turns translucent and looks a lot like Vaseline. Other people will stir it periodically throughout the process, and I will probably elect to do that simply because I do have goat's milk in here, and I'd like, if the color is going to change, I'd like it to be relatively even color changes. So I guess we'll check on it in a little bit. Okay, I am starting to see some changes. We're starting to get some bubbling around the edge. So I'm going to take my big old whisk here and see what we got. So I am pretty sure that we are in what's called the applesauce phase. So things are moving forward as they should. You can see here that the mixture is kind of starting to fold over on itself. And what we have over here is a lot more translucent looking. This is a lot looser. I'm seeing a lot fewer of the like applesauce type chunks. So I have been stirring periodically, and I'm wondering if we are in fact at the last and final stage of this mixture where it is in fact soap. I've heard this last and final stage called the Vaseline stage, but I've also heard it called the mashed potato phase, and this is looking a lot like mashed potatoes to me. The only way that I can really know if this has turned into soap from just oils and milk is to do what's called the zap test. So I need to take a little bit of this mixture and lightly touch it to my tongue. If I feel a zap, or like a tingle, it means that it needs to cook down a little bit longer, and if I don't feel it, then we officially have soap. I've never done this before, I'm not excited. No. Zap. Not done yet. It's weird, it's a little bit like an electric fence tingle. I'm over here looking at an internet forum about hot process soap. And a lot of people are saying that you can still mold it if it's a little bit zappy. It's distinctly less zappy, although it is there. So I am currently wondering if I can mold it, and during the cool down process, this is going to continue cooking because it is quite hot, and that might work its way out, at least according to these folks. A little bit earlier, as I was getting ready to make soap, I took some of our loofah and I cut it into these little rounds. So the idea is that I'll be able to pour the soap on top of the rounds and kind of get them to stick in there, and then I'll follow behind that and stick some more over the top, and maybe we'll have something pretty. I have a few different fragrance oils over here. These are actually essential oils. They are varying varieties of citrus scent. So our little bit of an orange color will look like it was on purpose. I don't know if this is gonna work. Not the top layer, at least. That is not sticking. Okay.
What is that?
An experiment.
Smells good.
Thanks. We'll see what it turns out to be. So this right here is why I don't prefer to film the first time that I do anything, because it doesn't always work out, and I don't want the whole thing to be a complete disappointment to who's ever watching. But you guys knew that this was a fail from the beginning. It's not necessarily a fail. It's just not as beautiful as I had hoped. I knew that hot process soap was a little bit crumbly sometimes on the top, which is why I was trying to smush down some more of the loofah sponge on top to try to make up for that. Didn't work. It didn't stick at all. Now this has kind of stuck in there. I don't know how long it's gonna stay. I don't know if it's gonna fall out with use. It's only, I don't think it's been an hour since these were formed. They are still a little bit warm, but they probably can be unmolded at this point. Right after I poured these and shut the camera off, I took a picture and went on to our members only Discord and showed the members in there, and one of them, who has been making soap for a really long time and is very good at it, goes, "Honey, what did you do?" Said with love, I know it. These do smell really good. I emptied out what was in the crock pot and actually melted it in the microwave to try to put it in some little pucks. And even that didn't hold together super well, but we're gonna use these so I can show you the fact that it is ugly, but it does soap. Now don't forget that I said soap comes first and then cleaning. So I'm about to do dishes. But we've got to check the lather first, of course. 100% tallow soaps usually have a creamier lather with like smaller bubbles. They're very, very conditioning, and this soap is no different than some of the soaps that I've made with tallow before. I've just never done hot process before. I imagine with just a little bit of use, all of this bumpy texture is gonna buff out anyway. So silky. I love tallow soaps. So this here is the hot process tallow and goat's milk soap that we just made. And this is a cold process tallow and goat's milk soap that I made last year. So you can see the difference. Having done both processes now, I think I prefer cold process soap, but the hot process, really, it's very convenient if you need soap right now. And I got something that I can give away. It is kind of cool now that it's been unmolded and I have them all kind of laying out here. Very unique. There's a couple things that I think went wrong with this particular process that maybe you guys can learn from. I was reading that lye does get old. My lye is, I don't even know how many years I've had that. Older lye sometimes does not perform like more fresh lye does. It took forever for this soap to come to trace. I was getting a little bit worried about it, but it did come to trace. And also I think I overcooked the hot process soap. Being my first time doing it, I wasn't exactly sure what I was looking for, but now that I've gone through it, I can remember the point at which I probably should have started molding it, and I didn't do that because I really wasn't 100% sure. Plus I was getting that zap still. You can zap test your finished bars of soap, and nothing feels weird here. So it is officially soap at this point. It smells very good and is absolutely usable. Because I like to make my soaps out of things that I have procured or acquired off of my farm, I probably won't be doing 100% tallow soap in the crock pot again. I don't know if the fact that I used 100% tallow was part of what made things set up so quickly, but I do know that the cold process works really well for 100% tallow soaps, so I think that is what I'm gonna keep doing. But this was a fun experience.